planning a trip to Krabi but don't know where to start, this is one of the most stunning regions of Thailand, but not for the reasons that most people think. I've personally traveled to Krabi many times over the last few years, exploring every corner of the region. But I also run a Thailand travel business, so I have helped over 100 people plan their epic trips to Krabi too. And in this video, I'm going to give you absolutely everything that I would like my clients to know before planning their Krabi trip adventure, including the best areas to stay and whether or not it's the right place for you, the killer hotels that will seriously upgrade your trip, the boat tours that you can't miss and the ones you need to avoid, all the must-do activities and hidden gem spots, as well as the best places for nightlife that don't involve getting blackout drunk. And if you want a visual map of all the places I talk about in this video, you can download my map of Krabi for free in the description box below. When it comes to planning your Krabi adventure, where you can stay can honestly make or break your trip. There are more areas to stay than most people realize, each with their own distinct vibe. Are you looking for somewhere buzzing with nightlife or hoping for the beach all to yourself? Are you looking for elite pool villas or rustic charm? On my most recent trip, I set out to explore not just the famous hotspots, but also some hidden gems that most travelers miss. And I found 4 main locations that could be perfect for you depending on your travel style. When you're planning a trip to Krabi, there's one spot that almost every first-timer considers, and it's easy to see why. I've previously said that this is the best place to stay for most people, although after my most recent trip, I would walk that back a little bit, seeing how awesome some of the other spots were. But if you want to be right in the heart of the action, surrounded by tons of restaurants, bars, and street food stalls, then this is the place for you. This is the nightlife and tourist hub of Krabi, and if you enjoy the energy of meeting other travelers from all around the world, then there's nowhere better in Krabi. This is Ao Nang Beach, and it's by far the most popular and convenient place to stay in Krabi. From here, it's very easy to hop on a longtail boat to explore the nearby islands and beaches, as well as head inland to the mountains and temples located on the Krabi mainland. And you're never far from a coffee shop, massage parlor, or place to grab a beer. There are a lot of options for where to stay in this area, almost too many in fact, and it can become quite overwhelming. But here are 3 hotels that I've helped my clients book over and over again. If you came for the nightlife, but you want to stay away from the grimy party hostels and gap year crowds, check out Avani Ao Nang Cliffhanger. It's got a cool swim-up bar with epic views of the mountains, and it's just a short walk from some of the best bars in Krabi. If you're traveling with a family, or you just want to be able to roll straight out of bed and onto the sand, there's one resort that's actually right on the beach, and this is actually pretty rare for Ao Nang. It's called Sentara Ao Nang Beach Resort, and there's lots to do for kids. It has a massive pool, and importantly, it's one of the few hotels in the area where you actually get better money for the family room rather than booking individual rooms. And if you're after a bit of peace and quiet and character, there's a place that feels like a hidden garden retreat surrounded by jungle, and it still has those epic views of the limestone cliffs. It's a bit more upscale, but has a rustic charm with wooden villas, and it's called Ban Sanai Resort, and it's tucked away from the crowd, so it feels a bit more peaceful in the more hectic area. But here's the thing about Ao Nang, it's not perfect for everyone. If you're dreaming of true 5-star luxury resorts, you might be a little bit disappointed. Ao Nang has a ton of hotels, but the hotels with the real wow factor lie in other parts of Krabi, and I'll show you them later in the video. I know some people choose to visit Krabi because it's less crowded or touristy than places like Phuket, but in some ways, Ao Nang is like Phuket light. It's definitely the most touristy area of Krabi, and some people might not like that. And because it's more touristy, in Thailand, that means a lot of tacky beachfront shops selling you crap you don't need, and people trying to get you to ride in the tuk-tuk. And while it's convenient, you do miss out on some of that wild natural beauty that makes Krabi famous. So if you're looking for the dramatic landscapes and perfect beaches, perhaps the next area is for you. The next location is one of the most jaw-dropping beaches in the world. It's an adventure lover's paradise, so if you're into rock climbing, kayaking, or hiking, then Railay Beach could be the perfect location for you. Railay is one of the most popular places to visit in the whole country, and even if you've never heard of it, you've probably seen it in pictures. Its iconic limestone cliffs and beaches are some of the most famous images of Thailand. This is a popular place to visit during the day, but most people actually choose to stay in Ao Nang. So one of the main advantages here is that you get these stunning beaches to yourself at sunrise and sunset, the best times of day to actually be here. On top of that, there is a much more wild feeling to the area, and it's not uncommon to see huge monitor lizards, tropical birds, and monkeys playing in the trees. If you're looking to have the best possible experience on Railay, it's home to one of the best hotels in the whole of Thailand. Located in the middle of the jungle, you can stay in these 2-story jungle houses just a stone's throw away from the beach. Staying here feels like you're in Jumanji, and it's absolutely amazing to wake up and hear the sounds of the jungle. It's called Rayavadi, and it's the only hotel in Thailand that combines beautiful beaches, wild jungle, and 5-star luxury all rolled into one. If you're looking for something more affordable, then Bunatani is an excellent alternative. But if Rayavadi is your splurge hotel in Thailand, then you won't be disappointed. But as epic as Railay is, there is a trade-off. First off, there's no road access. You can only get here by boat, which means a bit of an adventure getting to your hotel, but also means you can't explore other areas quite as easily. If you're looking for big nights out and bar hopping, you might find Raleigh a little too chill compared to Ao Nang. Raleigh Walking Street has some good chill beach bars and a few restaurants, but lacks the variety of Ao Nang. And Raleigh, whilst beautiful, is not off the beaten path. It can get busy here during the high season. So if you want to see a different side to Krabi, one that most tourists never see, then you have to check out the next two beaches. There actually still is a beach in Krabi that is practically untouched with a much more natural feel to it. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, then this is the beach for you. When you walk along it, you won't see large hotels or beach bars, just palm trees swaying in the wind. It's called Klong Muang Beach, and it has a much more local feel to it. When I was here, I saw a lot of people walking their dogs, and there were a lot more Thai visitors. In fact, the foreign tourists that I did meet when I stayed in Klong Muang all had traveled to Thailand many times before, and I got the vibe that this is for people who are after a much more authentic experience. Now, the interesting thing about this beach is that despite being much less visited, it's actually only a 15-minute taxi ride from Ao Nang, meaning you actually have the best of both worlds. A much more local experience and quiet beaches during the day, and Ao Nang nightlife in the evening. There aren't nearly as many hotel options to choose from as Ao Nang, but I have actually helped quite a few people book in this area, so here are my top picks. If you want somewhere literally just a few steps away from the sand, Just in Town in Krabi Beach Resort is a winner. I stayed here myself on my last trip and I really loved it. The pool area was nice and just a minute away from the ocean. Sofitel Krabi is another great option. It has its own golf course, so it's perfect if you like a few rounds of golf. And for anyone who prefers a more modern and stylish feel without all the crowds, Verona Hotel is the way to go. The next beach is for travelers looking for elite level experiences. It has probably the best view from the beach of anywhere in Krabi as you look out onto the Hung Islands and Panga Bay. I recently stayed at the Banyan Tree Krabi, which has been called the best beach hotel in Thailand, and it's definitely the most beautifully designed place I've ever stayed at. Every room here is a private pool villa with epic views of the distant islands. I've also stayed at Tubkat Boutique Resort, which has a far more rustic but equally beautiful vibe. This is the more affordable luxury option in the area, and I haven't personally stayed here yet, but this beach is also home to Ritz-Carlton Poulet Bay, one of just 7 Ritz-Carlton reserves in the world. That basically means it's in a league of its own when it comes to luxury. This place is a bit more off the beaten path, but that's kind of why it's great. It has great views and a much quieter beach. This is Tubkat Beach, and it's hands down one of the most stunning spots in Krabi, and definitely the beach for those looking for world-class hotels. But here's what a lot of people get totally wrong about Krabi. They assume every area is pretty much the same, and in reality, each part of Krabi has its own vibe. And if you really want to experience the best of the region, I'd actually recommend splitting your stay between 2 different areas. For example, spending a few nights in Raleigh, then a couple more in Tubkat will give you 2 completely different experiences. So if you've got the time in your trip, or you want to slow things down a little, trying out more than one spot during your Krabi trip is 100% worth it. Now, you can't come to Krabi and not take an island hopping boat tour. Seriously, this area is home to over 200 islands, and some of Thailand's most jaw-dropping scenery is just a short boat ride away. In fact, I think it's the best place in Thailand to take a boat trip from because you've got some of the most iconic scenery right on your doorstep. In this section, I'll break down the 3 major boat tours that you can take from Krabi, the tours that you absolutely need to avoid, and show you why the type of boat or the type of tour that you choose might just make or break your trip. The first boat trip is arguably the most famous in the country. It'll take you to iconic landmarks such as Emerald Lagoon, Monkey Beach, Viking Cave, and Maya Bay. It's excellent for snorkeling as you'll stop at the emerald waters of Maya Bay, but also swim with blacktip reef sharks at Shark Point. This is the PP Islands boat trip, and you'll likely also stop on the main island for lunch too. And whilst it is the most iconic, I don't know if I'd actually recommend it to most people, and here's why. First off, it's the furthest island hopping trip that you can take from Krabi. That means likely in a noisy speedboat hitting the bumpy waves on the way there. This is especially problematic if you're traveling during the rainy season. You really don't want to be stuck in the middle of the ocean when a thunderstorm hits. We actually had one client that this happened to, and let's just say he was very happy once he arrived back on land. I think you definitely do not need to do this trip if you'll be staying at the PP Islands later on your trip. And also, this is likely the busiest island hopping tour in Thailand, with boats arriving every single day from Krabi, Koh Phi Phi, and Phuket, so it can get crowded, which can ruin the atmosphere a little bit. If you do choose to do this one, make sure to take a sunrise tour. These tours will start around 5 a.m. and get you to the islands at sunrise for 6 a.m. to beat the crowds, and this is the only way you're ever going to have Maya Bay all to yourself. Luckily though, there are some stunning island trips that are much closer to the Krabi mainland where you'll be staying. So in fact, one of the best lies just past Raleigh Beach. There are some really beautiful stops on this trip, and in fact, out of the 2 trips that I'm going to show you now, this one is the best one for snorkeling. You'll stop around the back of Koh Gai, also known as Chicken Island, where you can see some really stunning tropical fish. The thing that stood out to me when I was here was the amount of like tropical Nemo fish, the clownfish, that were just in and out of the soft coral. Here there's another fascinating and unique structure, which is 2 islands connected together by a white sandbar at low tide. When the tide is out, you can walk directly between Koh Gai and Koh Tup which is a really unique experience. Nearby is another one of Krabi's most iconic landmarks. This is an epic mountain jutting out of the ocean with a stunning tropical beach to explore. The sand here is powder white and the waters are completely turquoise. The island is called Kopoda, and your photos here will be the most epic of your entire trip with the karst rock as your background. This trip is known as the 4 Islands Tour. The only frustrating thing about this trip is that it's not really 4 islands, it's actually only 3. The last stop is usually at Riley Beach, which can be a little bit frustrating if you've already been there and you might feel a little shortchanged. But boat trip 3 is said to be the most picturesque trip with the best beach. You'll start your trip with a stop at the Emerald Lagoon, not the one that we just looked at on Koh Phi Phi. This is a far less explored Emerald Lagoon, which has the same shimmering emerald waters as the one in Phi Phi. But also, unlike the one in Phi Phi, you're allowed to swim in here, which is pretty cool. And the good boat trips here will let you stop and enjoy the scenery. Next is the main attraction though, the beautiful Hong Island Beach. This beach is pretty much close to perfect. Similar to Riley, it's surrounded by cliffs. In this case though, they actually protect it from the open ocean of the Andaman Sea, meaning it's perfect for swimming in. If you're feeling more adventurous, from here you can rent a kayak or climb to the top of the Hong Islands viewpoint for panoramic views of the islands below and back onto the Thai mainland. But here's the problem with booking a Krabi boat tour. The type of tour and the type of boat you choose might be an even more important decision than which island to visit. In fact, some trips can be doomed before you've even left the shore, and here's why. If you walk along Ao Nang Beach in the morning, you'll see dozens of longtail boats lining up for the big group tours. Now, the problem here isn't so much that they cram a lot of people on the same boat, which they do. You can end up on the same boat as about 20 other people. The real problem is that all of these boats full of people leave and arrive at the same time, meaning you're not just sharing the islands with the other 20 people on your boat, you're also sharing it with 20 other boats, each with 20 other people. This means that you're constantly waiting around to get back on the boat and that you can't make your own schedule because you have to stick to the group. If you want to actually enjoy your trip, I always recommend upgrading to a private longtail boat. You get your own space, you can set up your own schedule, and it's just a more chilled experience that you can take your time with. The company that I help my clients book these tours with, I call Raleigh Eco Tour, and they're a very professional company with good English skills, and importantly, they time their boat trips so it misses the hordes of group tours. When I did the Hong Island tour, they even took us to a secluded private beach for lunch, setting out a beautiful picnic on the beach. And if you want to take it to the next level, look into the luxury longtail boat tours. These are a massive upgrade. They're beautifully restored boats with comfy seating and a private guide. And if you're looking for the ultimate holiday photos, this is how you do it. And the best part is, because the Hong Islands and the 4 Islands are actually only a short ride away from Krabi, this is one of the most affordable private boat tours you can do in Thailand. The private longtail comes in around $200 US and the luxury longtail around 300, which is considerably cheaper than the boat tours in Phuket or Samui. Raleigh Eco Tour also does private speedboats, but they are quite a bit more expensive. And for something truly unique, there are even some traditional Chinese junk boats famous for their big red sails. So sailing out onto the islands on one of these feels like a completely new adventure. Here you'll have a little bit more space to walk around and enjoy the boat. They travel at a slower pace, but this could be good to meet fellow other travelers and just take in the scenery. But crucially, the time of day is another major factor when booking your boat trip. If you're visiting between May and October, make sure to book your boat tours for the morning. It's usually much sunnier and calmer earlier in the day, while the rain tends to roll in the afternoon. If you're an early riser or you just want to squeeze in most out your day, some boats like the Dragon Boat even offer breakfast cruises, which would be one of the most memorable meals that you'll ever have. And if you want something a little bit different, there are also sunset tours that include a barbecue on the beach with beers and a cocktail at sunset. And then in the evening, once it gets dark, you have the chance to swim with bioluminescent plankton. These plankton light up the shores at night for a completely surreal experience, and there are not many places in the world where these exist, so it might be your only chance to see it. Of course, though, Krabi isn't just about island hopping. There are a ton of other epic things to do here. And in fact, for me, Krabi is the most exciting place to visit in Thailand because there are so many adventurous activities that most people end up missing out on because they aren't even aware exist. First of all, if you're looking for a real adventure, there's a temple located at the top of a mountain overlooking Krabi town. It has some of the best views in the region, and to reach it, you'll need to conquer 1,200 steep steps winding up one of the limestone mountains. So it's not for the faint of heart. This place is called Tiger Cave Temple, and at the top you'll find a golden Buddha sweeping 360-degree views over the rainforest and nearby cliffs, and an active monastery with monks doing their daily worship. And if you want to cool off after climbing all those stairs, there's a hidden spot in the jungle where you can take a dip in crystal clear water. It's a natural hot spring surrounded by lush rainforest, and the water is refreshingly cool, and it's perfect for swimming in after a morning of exploring. It can get busy later in the day, but if you go early, you might have this magical place all to yourself. This place is called Emerald Pool, and it's about an hour hour's drive away from the beaches. For hikers though, the Dragon's Crest hike is an absolute must. The trail here winds through lush rainforest and ends with jaw-dropping views all over Krabi. It's a bit of a workout, but the photos from the top are next level, and the trail starts from Tubkak Beach. Riley Beach itself isn't just about soaking up the sun though. This place is world famous for its rock climbing. With those dramatic limestone cliffs rising straight out of the sand, it's pretty much a climber's paradise. The cool thing is you don't need any experience to give it a try. There are plenty of local guides and climbing schools that offer beginner classes, so you can safely learn the ropes and start climbing on your very first day. If you're an experienced climber though, there are tons of challenging routes, and no matter what your level is, you'll be rewarded with jaw-dropping views over Riley and the Andaman Sea. So it's unlikely you'll actually find dinosaurs in Krabi, but if you're looking for a Jurassic Park experience, there's a spot that you need to head to a little bit away from the beaches. It's called Klong Route, and it's part of Krabi's mangrove forest, and it was a filming location in the most recent Jurassic Park film, specifically the scene where the dinosaur follows the cast along in the mangroves. You'll probably end up spotting a few giant lizards, even if they're not dinosaurs, and it's a much different environment to kayak through than the beaches, giving you a completely different part of Krabi to explore. Another thing that you might not expect is horse riding on the beach. Over at Klong Muang Beach, you can actually join a sunset horseback ride along the shoreline. It's a 2-hour class that's perfect for beginners, so you don't need any riding experience at all. And as I showed you earlier, in Klong Muang you have the beach pretty much all to yourself. Finally, if you want a meaningful wildlife experience, visiting an elephant sanctuary in Krabi is a must. One thing that sets the elephant sanctuary Krabi apart from the rest of the elephant sanctuaries that I've been to in the past is that you actually get to prepare like a nutritious meal for them, and then you feed them yourselves, learning about their diet in the process, which is just something I haven't seen in other sanctuaries around Thailand. You get to learn about the elephants and their backgrounds and see how they're looked after, as well as watch them close while they roam and play. But what about nightlife? In the next section, I'm going to break down some of the unique nightlife spots. So it's important to note here that I actually haven't been to a nightclub in probably over 10 years at this point, and I'm not really interested in all the pub crawls or things like that. I do like a couple of beers on the beach though, as well as a few cocktails. So these are the unique spots that I think Krabi is actually good for. The first spot is no secret. In fact, I've already mentioned it throughout the video. If you walk along the Ao Nang beachfront, you're going to be met with an array of bars and restaurants that come alive at night. Pretty much the entire strip from the beachfront and the roads leading back there are filled with places to eat and drink. I wish I could be a bit more specific here, but I don't really think I need to. Kind of, for me, part of the fun of being here is just walking around and seeing what's going on. The places here tend to be a bit more modern with neon lights and music. Food is a mix of international and Thai, so you can get pretty much anything you want here. If you're looking for a bit more of a beach bar feel to it with wooden shacks on the sand, there are a few places you can head to with a lot less people. For example, there's Riley Walking Street. You can visit this during the day for a bite to eat, but if you're staying in Riley, it's got a cool beach bar feel to it too. And then if you head to the north end of Klong Muang Beach, here you can find somewhere with a lot more of a local vibe to it. The restaurants here serve Thai food only, and it's the perfect spot to catch a sunset. On my most recent trip, I noticed that a lot of bars were using craft vodka called Kilo Spirits, and it turns out it's a locally distilled vodka made right here in Krabi, so make sure to check that out too while you're here. And if you're looking to sample some of the best street food in Krabi, you need to head to the next location, which is one of the bigger night markets that I've been to in southern Thailand. It opens around 6 p.m. and you can find a massive array of Thai snacks. It's called Landmark Night Market, and they also have live music and a few places to grab a drink too. But Krabi is also home to one of the most unique restaurants in the world. It's literally tucked inside a limestone cave right on the edge of Praran Beach. It's probably the most romantic setting I've seen for a restaurant as you watch the sunset behind the island in the distance and have a jazz band playing in the cave. It's called the Grotto Restaurant and it's part of Rayavadi Hotel. It was definitely one of the coolest meals that I've ever had. During the high season, it's only available for hotel guests in the evening, but it is open to outside guests during the low season and for lunch. So if you're not staying in the hotel, make sure to book in advance. If you're looking for an adventurous food experience whilst in southern Thailand though, there's one dish that you might want to try, or perhaps after you hear what I've got to say, might not want to try. This dish was actually voted the worst dish in the world by Taste Atlas, and I'll have to admit that it has a pretty unique flavor. It's called King Thai Pla, and you might see it on the menu as Southern Thai fish curry. Now look, I've tried all kinds of weird foods from around the world, and I've tried this dish a few times now, and it doesn't do it for me. It's a strong, not just taste, but scent of fish, and it's one of the spiciest dishes that you'll ever taste. But if you're looking to push your taste buds to the limit, it could be a fun experience. Another unique experience could be Krabi's biggest cabaret show. The Blue Dragon Cabaret is an hour-long musical and dance show with a twist. All of the performers in the show are transgender ladyboys known as Katoi. This is one of the biggest shows in southern Thailand, and it's known for its mix of Thai and Western cultures. In the show, expect to see performances of traditional Thai dances, as well as more familiar song and dance numbers that you'll know too. To be clear though, this is a mostly PG-rated show. If you want the naughty stuff, you'll have to find that on another channel. Performances take place up to 3 times a night and cost 600 bar. But if you're looking for a more violent affair, Krabi is home to one of the bigger Muay Thai stadiums in southern Thailand. Tickets cost around 1,000 baht and fights take place every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And on my most recent trip, I found an absolute hidden gem of a restaurant. This place probably has the best sunset views in Krabi. It's a treehouse style bar and restaurant perched on top of a hill. It has unbelievable views of the Andaman Sea as well as the Hong Islands and Koh Yao Yai in the distance. It's called Dragon View Restaurant and Bar, and the food here is delicious. But all of this planning could be for nothing though. If you don't know how Krabi fits into your overall trip, check out this video to find out the ultimate 2-week Thailand trip with day-by-day breakdowns showing you how to put together an epic Thailand adventure you'll never forget.